All right, I'm Mike Greenwell. This is my Encountering World Music project for the final exam. I'm here and I get the privilege to interview Tyler Hammond, and he's with Yours for the Taking. They just had an album that came out. He's a lead guitarist, so we're going to be interviewing him today. So Tyler, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
21. All right,
Yes,
sounds
sir.
good. Where are you from?
I'm from Pickerington, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, born and raised.
All right, very local.
Yeah.
So, how did you first become interested in music?
Well, my dad, growing up, he was always in a band, like traveling and stuff like that. Like normally all over Ohio, but he would sometimes go out of states and stuff like that. And he was a bass player for a lot of different bands. And just growing up, seeing him like playing bass, he always had drums and extra guitars and stuff like that. And I mean, ever since I was little, I've always been playing and stuff like that. So, I mean, music's been like in my life a lot. I mean, ever since I've been here, just because the fact that he was a musician himself, and honestly, I mean, it was just a matter of time until I picked up on it. So, I mean, basically, all started from my dad and stuff like that. Just seeing him play,
Yeah.
really made me want to play. Like he would play a show, and then I would be like, oh, I want to do that. So I would go home and like bang on the drums or something,
That is sweet.
something like that. Yeah.
So, was there anybody else in your close family that was playing?
Yeah, my brother, he's actually in the band now too with us. He's our drummer. He was. I mean, honestly, he was. He was a musician person. He liked it and stuff like that. But I mean, honestly, as a kid, I felt like I was a person who like, oh, mom, I want drums, or mom, I want to learn this, or like the person who, monkey see, monkey do. I was more of the person like I want to play or something like that. But
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, my brother was definitely influenced on music too as well.
that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, so your brother's in the band.
Yep.
So, what about just all the band members and the instruments that they're playing?
We consist of 4 members. We have 2 guitar players. I play the guitar and I'll sing. We have Nathan Lawler. He's the lead guitar player. I would consider myself the rhythm. He's the lead guitar player. He'll sing. And then we have Trey Myers. He's the bass player, and he'll sing. We have 3 vocals up front, kind of similar to the Beatles, but I would say with 3 microphones, you know what I'm saying, rather than 2 like the Beatles did. And then my brother, who plays just drums and stuff like that. So, and we all went to high school together, and we all went to the same high school, and it's actually pretty cool because like we all have like the same interests and stuff like that. Like we all played sports together. We were all in the same, not the same team, because like they graduated at different times. But I'm saying like we were all on the football team. We all played baseball. It's just kind of cool that we're actually still together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't really see that too often. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did the formation of the band come about?
Actually, it is actually kind of crazy because you asked that. Because when we first started, I was the bass player, and Trey was the guitar player, and Nathan was always the guitar player. My brother was always the drums. But it's funny because when they were forming the band or whatever, I heard about it and I was like, oh, I want to be like, like I said earlier, like monkey see, monkey do. I was like, oh, I have to be in a band. Like I want to be in a band and stuff like that. And I was in the 8th grade. I was real young. They were all like sophomore, juniors in high school and stuff like that. So it was kind of like, oh, do we want him in the band? And I was just like, listen, I'm being in the band. Like, there's no way that you're gonna like practice at my house. I'm just gonna sit here and listen to you guys. And it's just funny because I mean we were all still learning our instruments at that time, and it wasn't like we all knew everything like and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean it's kind of how it formed and stuff like that. And I mean Nathan was the original person to call my brother and say, hey, I'm starting a band. And then I mean I was honestly right next to him during that same phone call, and so I was like, I have to be in the band too.
Yeah.
So I mean
That's
you're my
sweet.
brother and you're gonna be in a band and I'm not. There's no way.
So, is this like the garage bands you hear about?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at first. Definitely at first we were the garage band. Like, I weaseled my way in there, and I was like, I want to be in it. And we normally would practice in our basement, not necessarily our garage, because, I mean, luckily for us, my dad was a huge musician, so it wasn't like, oh, I don't want you to play, like, oh, can you turn it down, or anything like that. It was like, oh, you guys sounded great, or, you guys need to work on this, it wasn't like, it was kind of like, it would, he would, something criticism, I can't think of the word right now, but he would definitely help us. It would help us out rather than you would hear people like, oh, they were real supportive of us, of us doing what we wanted to do, and especially my dad, being a musician, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what would you consider, the genre of all your music?
Well,
Or
it's
if
kind
it
of
does
like
fluctuate?
it really does because you know, like one song like it would be you would sound like, okay, this sounds like an old bluesy kind of song, and then this one's kind of like an alternative, but then like there's like a lot of rap into, like, not a lot of rap, but I mean we'll rap in songs and stuff like that, and you're thinking like, oh, like I didn't even see that coming, like, or like stuff like that, and it's kind of hard to tell, like, you know, I kind of like let other people be the judge of that because I really don't see us as one exact specific genre. I can't say, oh, we're indie, because like, I mean, name an indie song that like has rap in it, or like say like a rock, and like say if a rock who has like a lot of acoustic guitars in it, or maybe even some like synth sounds and stuff like that, you know, more modern, like interlude. Like, we'll have like an interlude and stuff like that that's in the album, and like, you know, just a lot of like a variety of music, and you know, we get a lot of influence by today's music and past music. So,
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what other bands or genres have actually like influenced your music?
The main band I would say honestly is the Beatles. Like, my dad was the absolute biggest Beatle fan, and I'm right now. I always tell like say I'm probably the kid who listens. I listen like literally nothing but the Beatles. Like, I'm so influenced by the Beatles. It's something weird, but like I like absolutely love the Beatles. I love everything that they did, and my dad was basically the person who got me on that. He's like one of the biggest Beatles fan. Like, he'll have like replicas of like John, Paul, and George's like, you know, guitars and stuff like that, and Ringo's drums, like exact replicas. It's actually pretty cool. And I mean, as far as like genre and like, you know, influence, I feel like, you know, Blink-182 was a huge influence, but we don't really sound anything like Blink-182. But growing up, they were a huge influence on stuff like that. And over time, as being in the band, like, I'm a junior in high school now, and we've been playing since I was in the 8th grade. And I mean, back in the 8th grade, we were more like punk rock, you know what I'm saying? And as time went on, you know, we kind of like matured, and now we kind of like, you know, came up with our own sound. It's kind of like an alternative sound, and like, but like, you know, Kings of Leon, you know, the Black Keys, I feel like they were pretty influencey because they're like bluesy but like rock, but like, you know, like Maroon 5, like they're rock and roll, but they're like now modern, you know. They're not really like, they have a lot of like, you know, synth, and like they don't even, if you listen to a lot of the recordings, it's not always real drums playing. It's like, you know, like I can't even, like pattern drums, like studio drums that are just, you know, programmed into it. They're not like actual somebody playing. You can kind of tell. I mean, coming from like, you know, a person who's works in the studios and stuff like that, you can tell stuff like that, and I feel like that's where we get a lot of our influence from.
That's cool.
Yeah, stuff like that. So
sounds good. Well, so if you had one song to pick that was you know, a famous song already from another artist, what would be your favorite?
My favorite song from another artist. I don't, you know, I know it sounds sad, but like I'm probably gonna go with a Beatles song, like, because it's like, I mean, it's so old. You would think that like why would Right Now be like one of my favorite songs? But honestly, I would say When I Saw Her Standing There by the Beatles. That, I mean, if you want to talk about a rock and roll song that is, you don't even really feel like it. It's so rock and roll that it's not rock and roll, and it's like, and everything, like, you can't not help but sing along with it. And it's just like, I mean, the harmonies in it are just, it's just so upbeat and up tempo that nobody's ever made a song since. And it was the very first song on the very first album of the Beatles CD, and it was just, I don't know, it was just, that's the one that always stuck, and it's never gone old. And as long as I listen to it, I've listened to it since I was like 3. Like, I mean, I've always been listening to the Beatles. You know, breakfast with the Beatles on Sundays, going to church, we would always listen to the Beatles and stuff like that. And I mean, you know, everything about their music wasn't anything like it is now. Like, everything now is like kind of negative almost in a way. And like music then, it was like, you know, all about love, or like, you know what I'm saying, like just like, you know, makes you feel good about it. And that's why, I mean, I feel like I chose the Beatles. I mean, because they just, you know, I don't know. But that's the song I would choose if I had to pick a song right now.
Yeah. Well, the impact that they had. That's
definitely
something to follow around, you know?
Definitely. And I don't know. It's definitely people to look up to, and it's definitely somebody good to look up to. I mean, with their morals, I know there's some stuff in there that's like not always good to hear, but I'm saying their image that they put out wasn't anything like Miley Cyrus or somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's right now, and it's like, there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being a different artist, famous artist that you like, let's talk about you. You know, what would let's talk about your album too. So, what's your favorite song that, you know, you had to say on this album?
I would say, My favorite song is "She Wants to Rock and Roll." I feel like it's our most popular one. I feel like the most people like about it. I mean the most we get complimented on, and that, and I mean "Hey Girl" too. I mean, I noticed a lot of people on campus actually like "Hey Girl," but I mean "She Wants to Rock and Roll" almost gives you everything. It kind of, I mean, we rap in the song as like a catchy chorus, like "She wants to rock and roll." Kind of like, you know, it says two things, but it doesn't necessarily say one. It's exact like message that is getting across. I mean, especially with music these days, you don't really hear many people who will like want to rock and roll or something like that. You know, you want to hear. I mean, everybody's like rap, you know, pop music, you know, R&B. You don't really hear. It's a very, the crowd of like, you know, rock music has gone down, and I feel like this song almost brings it up in a way if you listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say "She Wants to Rock and Roll" would be a recommendation on the CD.
Yeah, sounds great. So, when did this come out?
This came out in August of this year. We honestly been working on it for like literally the past 3 years. We've come a long way since this "She Wants to Rock and Roll." We literally released that single like 2 years ago. Like I remember the YouTube published date. I was looking on it not too long ago, and it was like something in like 2011 or something like that. And since then, we've written like 11 other songs and stuff like that. And I mean, honestly, recording an album by yourself without a record label or without, you know, like having 4 other members and like having everybody do their part and come in and record it and everything get down perfectly, it's a lot harder than a lot of people think. And especially doing everything yourself. Like we recorded this whole album in my basement, you know, using our own stuff. We produced it ourselves. We came up with this logo. Like I took the picture, you know, we put it all together, and it's a lot more than people think that putting an album together. And like every song is like not like, oh, let's just throw this one together and put this one out. Let's throw this together. Like I said, like "She Wants to Rock and Roll" was written 2 years ago. Like that was like, and that's the first song on the album, meaning like that's how other songs took to write and like get down and stuff like that. So I feel like, yeah, I don't know, this album.
Oh, I see the
it means a lot. It's just a lot more appreciation to other people to, you know, put in the work to make an album and stuff like that. But it's just a little bit more difficult when you don't have like, oh, I want my producer just to, you know, run through it or, you know, write it all. Because I engineered the whole album, so it's like everything that you hear was through me. So everything that you hear on the album, like every like tambourine or even like a shaker, you know what I'm saying, that had to bring up a new track. You know, you have to, you know, record it right. You have to be on perfect tempo, and just the shaker like can make or break a song. I mean, to me, in my eyes and stuff like that. I mean, yeah. So basically,
cool. Yeah. So, you know, you said you have 4 other guys in the band, including yourself, or
including myself, 4 all together. Yep.
So to split that work up, how does that work out with, you know, who's gonna write the song, who's gonna do this and do that?
Well, it's honestly like I'll have a guitar lick or something, and you know he'll come up and be like, hey, I kind of have this, or like, you know, like we'll branch off other ideas, like, oh, you kind of wrote that, well, let me learn this real quick. I'll learn what you just learned, and then I'll, like, you know, add on to it. Like for example, like Bombs Away, I wrote the whole entire guitar. Like I wrote the whole riff of the guitar, and then Lawler and Trey, Nathan and Trey, they both wrote the lyrics for it, and they did a great job on it. I like the lyrics, so then, I mean, you know, that's kind of how it works. And my brother, drums, he'll write some lyrics here and there, but my brother writes the drums and he writes the good drums. Like he writes like, you know, the way the feeling that it should be, and I like that. He's real like the simplicity of it is nice. It's not like too like you know, Van, you know, going crazy. It's like kind of like the nice feel of like it's just the way the song is how it should be written on the drums. But like I said, we just kind of go off other people's. You know, like he'll have a riff and I'll write more to that riff, or you know, you'll have. I mean, honestly, they say definitely the instruments come first in our band. Nobody really has lyrics, and they're like, oh, I got lyrics. Oh, well, I got this. Like, you know, it's not like that. It's more, okay, I have this guitar riff. Now let's write lyrics to it. You know.
Yeah.
Something like that, something along those lines, and you know, we'll just branch off each other's ideas, and that's kind of like, it kind of helps too. It's not like it's not one person's writing everything, but I do write a majority of it though. I would say that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So if someone you know, wanted to hear your album, where could they purchase it?
You can find it anywhere. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Google Music. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on like basically any kind of music site because we distributed it to a lot of distributed all to a lot of different sites and stuff like that. So you can find this just yours for the taking. Anything, just yours for the taking. Band, music, yours for the taking. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and from those sites you should be able to. There's all links in our bios of iTunes. So if you go to our Twitter, there should be a link to our iTunes and stuff like that in our Twitter or Facebook and stuff like that. And like I said, it's like Yours for the Taking Band, or you can even find it on our website at yoursforthetakingmusic.com. Cool. And there you can find, all of our social networking and stuff like that.
Yeah. And if they want the CD and the case that you worked so hard on,
yeah.
If they came to you, how much is that?
Oh, this would be, $10 to $5, whatever it is. We're in Westerville, $10. If we're in Columbus, maybe $5. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, but it's really not that big of a deal. But if you want to buy it online, it's listed as $10 right now.
Okay.
So if you buy it from me, you'll get this too. So this comes with the lyrics and stuff like that. So
sounds great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Appreciate it.
So, kind of other than music, what other hobbies do you have?
Well, I'm on the football team, as you see. We're teammates. I mean, I don't know. I play. I mean, when I was in high school, I did 4 sports. I played football, wrestling, baseball, and track. And sports was really, really big to me. I mean, besides sports, honestly, I would say that, I mean, if being like a studio engineer, like, it's not even my music, like I would have people come into my studio and record. I like doing that a lot. And I mean, that's kind of what I almost want to do. And like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, other than that, like snowboarding or like paintballing or something like that, just hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy or anything like that. Just something, just what you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you got the nickname Speedy.
Yeah.
So, what's the background behind that? How'd you get that nickname?
Well, my sophomore year of high school, because when we were in high school, I played football, and I was on the, when I was a freshman, we had 2 Tyler Hammonds at my school, and like the exact same name. I was Tyler B at the time, and he was Tyler W. But as a freshman, I was on varsity, so I was always Tyler B, and he was Tyler W at the time. So when I was a sophomore, he was actually pretty good at football. So when I was a sophomore, I was already up on varsity, and he came up to play varsity. So there's 2 Tyler Hammonds on the exact same offense. Yeah. And so my head coach brought everybody together and said, listen, everybody, and he called me up. He's like, his name is Speedy. Nothing else. Everybody forget Tyler, forget anything. His name is Speedy from now on. If you want to address him to anything, it is Speedy. And this was like after practice, and everybody was caught up. So then from then on, and even listed as my roster, like we played on Herb Street Classic and stuff like that, like at the Horseshoe Stadium, and people on the broadcasters, announcers would be like, Speedy Hammond, and because my name on the roster, it would just say Speedy Hammond, it wouldn't say Tyler Speedy Hammond, it just said Speedy Hammond, which gave everybody like there's no way this kid's name is Speedy. Yeah. Like, come on. And so they had nothing else to call me except for that. And during my time at my high school, we were fortunate enough to play at the Horseshoe Stadium twice. We played on ESPN twice. We played at the Crew Stadium. And all those times throughout my high school career, everybody called me Speedy. And from then on, they would write in the newspapers. They would say Speedy. And people would, kind of just start to notice. And, when I got to college, and people heard about me from being that, from high school and stuff like that, and the coaches, some knew that like my nickname was Speedy or whatever. So, but the person who actually said Speedy was my coach's daughter. They were on vacation and they were talking about what I need a nickname or something to call him because he didn't like the fact that he didn't want to call us Tyler B and Tyler W. He didn't like that. Yeah. And ever since then, honestly, I like to thank him for calling me Speedy because a lot of people know me as that, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't know me if my nickname wasn't Speedy and stuff like that, and I appreciate it. At first, I didn't like it. I felt like I was being called like a goldfish or something, like a little Speedy over there or something stupid. But honestly, I've grown to like it, and sometimes I will introduce myself as Speedy, depending on like if the person I feel like I know them or something like that. I'll be like, oh, I'm Speedy, and they'll be like, okay. Like sometimes I got crickets like what what do you mean? But other times you're like, yeah, I know. So it's a little bit, I don't know. It's contradicting. I like it and then I don't like it. But it definitely fits me now. Yeah. I've come to appreciate it a lot, honestly.
Yeah. It's catchy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just football, man. I feel like just the quickness. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not fast, but I'm not quick. So I don't know. I guess it works out.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it. He definitely backs it up. So, just a few more questions. Just kind of with the fun part of being on stage and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like where's the coolest place that you performed at?
Coolest place. We've played at a lot of places. We played at the Newport down in Columbus. We played at the Basement. We played at the LC. We've played, but honestly, I would say probably the coolest place we played at was probably Margaritaville. We played there a lot. Like we played there almost like ever since October. We've been playing there about 3 times a month. And Margaritaville, that just opened in Margaritaville in Cincinnati, and is connected to the brand new Horseshoe Casino. It's like brand new, and it's pretty cool there because Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett, he's the main reason why Margaritaville is open and stuff like that. And it's just to be able to play there, to be able to say I play at Margaritaville, like to another musician, say like if you have another show, like where are you playing at tonight, and I say Margaritaville, as a musician you got to be like, oh, like you can't just go and play at Margaritaville. You have to like try out, and you have to actually make it, and you actually have to have like, and once you do make it, you get like all these show dates, and it's actually really cool because like I mean it's Margaritaville, and it's just like when you tell the other people they just know that you can't just walk in and say, hey, I need to talk to a manager, I want to kind of play here. You have to like try out and stuff like that. Like we actually had a tryout in Cincinnati at 10 o'clock in the morning on like some Wednesday, and we ended up making it. Our booker tell us that we made it. So I mean that's a pretty cool experience because just to think about from one song, like I mean coming from a musician, one song, Margaritaville, can make something like that. Like Jimmy Buffett wrote one song, and now he has a span of restaurants all throughout the country making so much money just from one song. That just shows that just what one song can do to you. You know what I'm saying? Just to up Margaritaville. But yeah, I would say that's probably one of the better places to play. We play a lot up in Cleveland too and stuff like that. Like where there's like we'll play like there's like a bar right there, and then like when you sit at the bar, like the stage is right there, like it's above the bar. It's actually a pretty cool location. I've never done anything like that, but that's probably one of the cooler places we've been to too. Nice. In Margaritaville.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So how about how many times do you play like within a month?
Right. Right now, like since it's like football season, like we kind of have to tone down. We cannot play on Fridays. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a game the next day. But we actually play. I've been fortunate enough to actually able to play on Saturdays, and like after the game, straight hustle straight from the game to the show. But I would say lately we've been playing about on an average without football season, we play out twice a weekend, so it'll be about 12, maybe 10 times a month.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually pretty. It's a lot. Now, compared to when we used to be, it would be like once a month. But now we play with the booker that we have. He books a lot of shows, so we are able to play out a lot more than what we like. Not more than what we like, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
that's a good.
And I love it too. It's fun. It's hard work after the end of the show. You're like, man, this is. Kind of tired, but then once the next show comes up, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. Yeah,
that's cool. So, just what do you aspire to do with your band? What are your future goals?
Well, like I said, when we play with Margaritaville and stuff like that, like when you play at Margaritaville, you don't go up and play your original songs. You go up and play the cover songs. You kind of go up and play what the people want to hear. And if you look at musicians who became famous, like off the top of the head, like Jimi Hendrix. I was watching a documentary on him the other day, and he was traveling in the U.S., just playing cover songs, just going up and playing what people wanted to hear, like the big songs at the time, like Johnny Be Good or something like that. And then he went over to England, the rest is history. He became, Jimi Hendrix and Jimi Hendrix Experience. But what I'm saying is that right now, I'm so comfortable with where we're at because, like, in today's society, you can't just go and play originals and expect to be paid, and be happy with your payment. Like for right now, like we established a 4-hour song, like a 4-hour set list. So we can go out and play from 9 to 1, or we can go play 10 to 2, and that's normally our set. And we'll go out and play 4 hours worth of music. And a lot of bands can't do that, especially if you look out and see cover bands out. Normally they're like 35, 40 years old. Like you don't go to Margaritaville and see a 21-year-old up there playing on stage. Like it's rare. Like you really don't see that, and that's why people always give you like when I say Margaritaville, like what? Like I can't even get into Margaritaville. How do you get into Margaritaville? And with the exception of our booker. But I mean, right now, I feel like nothing can stop us because of the fact that we are actually funded by the cover music, and which funds our original music. So like it's never gonna. I don't see where it would stop, just because the simple fact that we're getting like we're actually pretty happy with playing out every night and stuff like that, and like so the payment from that and stuff like that will help like promote our band. Like we can put $100 into promotions here, Twitter, Facebook. It's a lot easier to put money towards that by having money come in. Like we can't go play 30 minutes and like we can still be an original band and we can still be a cover band at the same time. And a lot of people I know who are in cover bands, and that's all they do. They don't work a job. They don't do anything. They'll play out twice a night, and if you play at casinos, you're getting paid really, really good. And that's basically our next step, is to be in the casinos. And the only reason why we're not exactly there yet is because we're still young, and honestly, that's next year. Like this is our first year with this booker, and we've played easily over 75 shows. And I'm saying, and I don't complain at all, because you go out and play 4 hours, and you get pretty, they take care of you, and then you put that money towards your instruments. You just upgrade and upgrade and upgrade. And honestly, I mean being a musician, I'm in business right now. I'm majoring in business, and what I would like to do is like what my booker does. Like, so if you have 16 bands playing out, and Friday and Saturday, 16 both nights, and they're getting paid over 1,000 or something like that, and you're getting 15%. They're getting like 150 by just sending an email or something like that. So it's just pretty cool, because like he doesn't do a lot, but he does a lot. I'm not gonna say he doesn't, but I'm saying that's kind of what I want to get into. If anything, like maybe even open like my own label, maybe even like a sound production company where we go out and like when we go out and play, like normally there'll be a sound guy there, and they'll be setting up their like sound equipment, maybe even something like that. Like have our own sound production. We can have our own studio. It's just kind of endless from how long we're doing it. It's not like I've been doing this for like a year. I've been doing this since I was like 14 and like 12, and like I've always wanted to do this. So it's like it's starting to become real easy, and the ball is just getting faster and faster as long as we learning more cover songs, more modern songs, and that just only take us up. And it's not like we're just gonna be like, oh well, I'm not happy because I have to go work, because it's not like it's like funding it. It's fun, and it's just like I don't know. I just don't see it stopping anytime, and then the original music will come along with it. Like it might not be now, but playing out for so much time, you realize what songs kind of like get the crowd moving, and what songs like the crowd's not feeling it, and it helps with writing and stuff like that. And it helps like like okay, I know this is kind of like more upbeat, and like people like this kind of music, they can dance to this, and like this song people not kind of like, and it's just like you definitely look and you react to it, and it definitely helps on writing and stuff like that. And I don't know, I'm honestly in a very happy position right now. So yep. And I mean, if anything doesn't work, Otterbein is gonna give me that degree in a business field. So honestly, if it doesn't work with music, I mean, there's endless things in business and stuff like that, and I feel like I'll stay in music somewhere, but along the lines. But I really see us playing music in the future. Like, So
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, the bar is set high. Sounds like great goals. It's really exciting to see that you guys are going out and playing that much. People are really gonna come out and see it. And once again, this is yours for the taking. And this is Tyler Speedy Hammond. So if you're interested, check out maybe the iTunes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yours for the taking. All right.
Thank you.
Sweet.
That was good, man. That was good.